Are you looking forward to Street Fighter 6? I haven't watched the trailers, but I noticed it's gonna be some kind of open world game. Now, you know what? I'll be honest. I'm not a fan of Street Fighter anymore. I grew up with Street Fighter 2. In fact, the very first fighting game that I ever played in my life was Street Fighter 2. And I loved it. I fell in love with it because the controls were very responsive. The characters were awesome. The moves were awesome. The music by Yoko Shimomura, was amazing. It was just Street Fighter 2 is a masterpiece. And then it got other, iterations, right? It got Super Street Fighter and Street Fighter Turbo, and I did play them, later. But when I was an adult, the one that I played when I was little, when I was like 11, 12 years old, it was Street Fighter 2. Everybody was starting to get into the Nintendo 64, the PlayStation, but I was stuck with the Super Nintendo back in the mid-90s. And I was playing Street Fighter 2 for the first time in my life. And then I played Mortal Kombat, Mortal Kombat 2 and Mortal Kombat Ultimate. Amazing games, Mortal Kombat, the first one, I never really liked it. But 2 and Ultimate were amazing games. But going back to Street Fighter, my point is that this is a series I'm not really embarrassed to say that I stopped liking it almost right away. Because after playing Street Fighter 2 Turbo and Super Street Fighter, I love those versions, But then the Alpha and Omega stuff came out, and Street Fighter 3 Alpha was badass, I loved it. Then there was this on the Dreamcast called the Third Strike, which is a badass game too. But let me stop right there. Alpha was amazing. Street Fighter 3 Alpha on the PlayStation, also on Game Boy Advance and everything. That's an amazing game. I really liked it. But after that, when I played the Third Strike, I was like, well, it's great, it's amazing, but the characters are starting to look a little bit bulky, a little bit fat, a little bit, and it's starting to feel more technical. Street Fighter wasn't, a combo button masher game on the Super Nintendo. It wasn't like that, but it wasn't that technical. So the franchise started to go that way over more and more with each game, with each release. And then Street Fighter 4 came out, and that destroyed the franchise for me. It was a huge commercial success. Yes, people loved the heck out of Street Fighter 4. I just didn't. I felt like I was fighting with freaking, I don't know, extremely muscular characters. I mean, when I saw Chun-Li is my favorite character in Street Fighter 2. When I saw Cammy, when I saw the girls like that being like this, I was like, what is this, a wrestling game? What the fuck happened to Street Fighter? So it just, I don't know, it just went to a different direction, and I stopped liking it, This is why I don't like Street Fighter anymore. And I play 5, on my friend's house, I went to his house, and that was years ago when the game came out, and I had the same feelings. I was like, man, Street Fighter 4 puts this one to shame. I mean, it's just 5 is worse. I mean, I'm not insulting any of you if you like Street Fighter 4 or 5, and you're excited for 6. Good, don't let my opinion ruin for you. But I'm not a fan anymore of Street Fighter. I know it's a big part of my childhood, the second one, or Alpha, the Alpha games, a big part of my young adult life. But that's where I drew the line, Street Fighter 4 for me changed the series, went into a completely different direction, and I stopped being a fan. So, no, I'm not excited for Street Fighter 6 whatsoever.